name is Joseph Patterson. Welcome to One Jamaica TV. This is the place of choice for all who love this country and want to see the nation succeed.
And we have with us now Mr. Winston Wright. Yes. From the United Independent Congress. Now, listeners and viewers, the UIC is one of the political parties in Jamaica. But it's not among the major political parties. But it's one of the parties that has been advancing a plan of an alternate government over the years. So we have Mr. Winston Wright with us. Good evening, Mr. Wright.
Good evening, Brother Desmond, and thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir.
I just like to say, in the United's eyes, the UIC is a major party because we have been able to advance the narrative, even though we do not hold the mic.
Well, you know, one of the things, when I talk about political parties in Jamaica, you know, sir, one of the things I do, I talk about them from a historical point of view. Now, the last time a third party did well in election was somewhere in the 1940s. Since then, we have had multiple elections. And since 1944 in Jamaica, only two political parties have won elections here. That's the PNP and the JLP.
So true. And now we have seen the dire shape that the country is in, what we have inherited from those 80, 40 years.
And that is why I say the socio-political ills facing Jamaica, those two parties must take blame for it because they are the ones who have held government since 1944. That's a fact.
And the UIC position on that, Brother Desmond, is that we can't ask them to, fix crime because it benefits them. Yes. They won't implicate themselves because it's a known fact that these two colonial parties have strong and long-standing association with criminality.
Yes.
And they won't fix the economy because they love the poor so much. Their movement was designed by the colonial masters to keep us poor.
Yes. Well, the question I want to ask you is what is the UIC doing to convince the voters to vote for them?
And when we are doing a lot, Brother Desmond, the first thing is that our interaction is constant and consistent. Every day, we are reaching out to the public, telling them about our manifesto, telling them about our plans, and letting them know they have an alternative. We have actively tried to participate in all elections. For example, in Northeast St. Anne, when they tried to have a gentleman's agreement to pass the baton to Samuda without a challenge, the UIC stepped in and forced an election there, which they complained bitterly about. Also, we tried to get in the by-election in Trelawney Southern, I think. And we weren't successful in getting our candidate nominated. Also, we weren't successful in getting our candidate nominated over in Clarendon, I think. But we are actively, and we're building our space, educating the people, and refining our candidacy. Our next AGM coming up, we'll be making sure that on the agenda we'll be reviewing our manifesto. We try not to have any significant changes to our manifesto because our manifesto is a pledge to the people to create a new Jamaica, one that respects their right to life, liberty, and property, and ensure that their rights are protected equally under the law.
Yes.
Now, speaking of the law, I need to bring to the general public's attention the agreement of miscarriage of justice.
Yes.
As we know, our president, in demanding the government act in the best interest of the people in September of 21, he was victimized and arrested. And as part of his proceedings, he brought a constitutional challenge to the powers, or to clarify the powers of the Prime Minister and the actions of the government at the time.
Right.
That constitutional challenge has gone to the Supreme Court. Now, when the challenge was put in late 2021, they told the president and his legal team that no date was available before 2024. However, he got a date in, I think in September of 2023, where he had the first hearing. There was about 3 or 4 hearings. One was missed by the Crown, but the case proceeded. Now, when they presented the case to the Supreme Court, the 3-panel judge arbitrating the matter, they promised a ruling on the case by July 31st of 2024. And you know where we are in 2024.
Yes.
Now, from 2021, when the initial challenge was lodged in the Supreme Court, to date, the president has been waiting well over 37 months for his case to be heard. Just over 3 years plus. Now, we see where the Prime Minister, and even before we get to that, this case is a precedent-setting case because, as I said, it clarifies the powers of the Prime Minister and several actions that he took at a particular time in our history. And clarifying the powers of the government is always good for the people. It, one, tells the government what it can do and tells the people the true role of government. So that challenge is will be a precedent-setting one when the ruling is handed down. And for some reason, the president cannot have his case adjudicated. And of course, he has to now go to court and the other matters. Because even though he has a matter before the Supreme Court and pending, they still won't put that case on hold until the Supreme Court rules.
What is the last word from the Supreme Court on it? Because they said that you would get a hearing this year.
No, the case was heard finally. But when it was heard in September of 2023, they promised a ruling by July of 2024. Yes. July 31st, I think, 2024.
Right.
And July 31st, as we all know, has long come and gone.
Uh-huh. And what is the word?
Nothing. Not even a letter to his lawyers to say we are still drafting the response or we are still researching legal precedents or whatever.
Mm.
Absolutely not one word to a taxpaying citizen whose tax dollars pay their salary. No. On the other hand, the Prime Minister has decided to challenge the IC ruling report, actually. Now, in challenging the IC report, he was able to get his thing in front of the court in less than 90 days.
Yes.
Okay? Now, bear in mind, his case is also precedent-setting, by the way, because he's challenging also the law.
Yes.
So he's seeking to have the court strike down the very law that was piloted under a GLP administration that included him.
Yes, of course.
Ironically.
Yes.
Now, it shows, if they're able to challenge successfully that law, it shows how weak-minded the legislature is in creating such a law. That they don't think clearly, they just act. But in less than 90 days, the Prime Minister got his hearing, 60 days, and will get his ruling in less than 90 days. That is obviously speaking to a biased judiciary.
Mm-hmm.
That is the optics that is creating. How can one precedent-setting case go forward while the other languishes in the court? They're both precedent-setting. Now, the Prime Minister deserves to have his case mentioned and expeditiously because, again, it clarifies how he will govern.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, Joseph L.Patterson's case has the same bearing. So what is the difference? They can the judges, as a matter of fact, the hearing was scheduled for 3 days. And after 1 day of robust argument by Mr. Patterson's legal team, which most of his legal team's arguments went unchallenged by the Crown, the panel of honorable judges say, okay, 1 day seems to be enough, so we'll adjourn today and you'll have our ruling by the 31st. So what has happened then? Where the case was finally tabled, even though he had to wait 2+ years. And the case was heard, but yet still no ruling. What is happening? What is the holdup?
And there's silence from the court so far.
And silence on the court.
Today is November 20th.
Thank you. So the tactics that we have seen so far by the government is to drag out any matter that the UIC has a standing in until we lose momentum. So is this the same thing that is happening? Where they're going to drag out the case of our president until the people forget, that the Prime Minister is accused of acting illegally by Mr. Patterson on behalf of Jamaica, and then move on? Because if he has another court loss, it will be a tremendous blow to his administration.
Mm.
So what is going on? Why this case is being swept under the rug, and the man's life, his livelihood, is being held up because he can't travel freely.
But his lawyers should now find out from the court what is the position with the ruling, because the lawyers were told that they will get a ruling in July.
Correct. And inquiries are made and there is no reply. So the UIC, by virtue of the date of the NEC, has reached out. We have published a press release. I'm hoping the media team had sent you a copy.
Yes,
we made clear,
I have a copy of it.
Which we made clear our position on it.
Mm-hmm.
They've also gone ahead and written to the Chief Justice. We wrote to the Chief Justice on the 14th of November.
Yes.
On the 15th of November, sorry. And there wasn't a response or an acknowledgement of our letter.
Mm-hmm.
So we wrote again to the Chief Justice on the 17th, stating that we have not had an acknowledgement. So we're bringing the matter to his attention again.
Yes.
Still no acknowledgement. And our members are incensed by this. The diaspora is upset by this. And they have asked us to start a petition to lodge with the Supreme Court to find out why Joseph L.Patterson's case is being held up while others are being fast-tracked through the courts.
Yes, sir. Well, I think he has a legitimate right to have his ruling known.
Yes, because
yes.
If you look at it,
whether it is negative or positive, it is. But, sir, I tell you, the court system in Jamaica, I say, when I look at the justice system in Jamaica, I say the justice system is for sale,
Yes,
Let me tell you why I say this. Because if I am charged with a crime and I can afford the services of two King's Council now, I am in a different position from someone who is charged with the same crime and can only afford legal aid.
Very much so. And I can cite several personal references where justice was lost to me or a close family member for those same reasons.
Yes. If you can't afford the services of the lawyers, the top lawyers, your case, the chances of you getting justice are weak.
True, yes. Very true.
The vast majority of people who go before the court in Jamaica.
And that is why the UIC is making sure that we highlight the weakness in our justice system. Because we have a plan to fix it as well, but in the meantime, we have to survive it.
Yes.
And the UIC has a plan. In this case, in the case of Joseph L.Patterson, we have written to the Chief Justice, even though they have not acknowledged. I'm confident that the email address they published works. If it doesn't work, then that is on them. And we have gone ahead and started a petition. That petition is circulating widely on our social media, our Facebook, our Twitter, and our TikTok account. Also, the press release is there for those who want to read it. and the letters to the Chief Justice are there. But those who believe in justice, who want to be informed as to the inequities in our system. And I'm asking persons listening, persons watching, so if you believe in justice, regardless of what your political leanings are, I'm asking you to sign this petition. And the saying I use is this: the same knife will stick the hog, stick the goat.
Yes, because the facts are there.
Yes, and the facts are clear. And regardless, we don't care what the ruling is. All right? The learned, honorable judges will decide based on precedents. And if we believe that justice wasn't carried, we will use the option of appeal.
Yes.
But it is unconscionable, it is indecent for a taxpayer in this country to wait 4 years for justice while the Prime Minister is given justice so swiftly that it's almost blinding.
Yes. Yes.
So that is where we are today, Brother Desmond. And the UIC continues to be a victim of the system because they don't want the people to have a choice. They don't want us to break the duopoly that they use to swap seats.
Well, one of the things that you must expect, and I'm sure that you and the UIC, that the fight for political power is not an easy fight,
No. And it's not for the faint of heart either.
No, it is not.
And that is why...
Because one of the things that you must understand, that the fight for political power, people have lost their lives for this, Right?
That we are aware of. That we are aware of, Brother Desmond.
And the other thing that I look at, and you can look at it too, in Jamaica, political power is a costly affair. Now, who is financing the UIC?
Our membership only, those who are dedicated to good governance and change. Those members that we have on our rolls that want that.
Mm-hmm.
The PSOJ, on the other hand, financed the two colonial parties in the tune of millions of dollars. When you look at them having multi-million-dollar conferences, while the population suffer without any initiative to help, other than the selected few or the connected few, you understand the kind of instability they breathe in our country.
Yes, sir. One of the major financiers of politics in Jamaica are the banks, Do you know that?
Of course we know that, and the UIC has exposed that and reported on it widely.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, one of the examples we draw most frequently is the fact that last 2021, when NCB workers were striking for welfare issues, better pay, better working conditions, etc., NCB found time to finance both political parties, both colonial parties, to the maximum.
The last election, the banks and other financial institutions declared
or the major contributors
that they spend 100 million.
No, in excess of.
No, I am telling you what they declared.
Ah.
Yes. Right? No, so for your political party, the UIC, to challenge the status quo, it is going to require a lot of work and resources.
And brother Desmond, that is not fact that is lost on us. And about the banks and their contribution, not all the banks declared, because I can remember that VM did not make a declaration as to how much. Okay? Another bank said that they only contributed to the debate, but we all know how that works.
Yes.
Right? So it is in excess of. Right. Now, as for the resources that the UIC needs, the UIC has no problem working with any donors, as long as they subscribe to the principles of the UIC and will not seek to change or in any way deviate from the program that the UIC established to liberate the people.
Yes.
Now, I don't see why the PSOJ oligarchs are afraid of the UIC. because the UIC believes in an open market. The UIC believes in working with local businesses, putting local businesses first. We will do business with anyone, but not at the expense of Jamaicans. So a Jamaican company don't have anything to fear. So we're not going to bring in an international construction firm when we have local construction firms.
Yes.
If there's truly a skills issue, we will work with those firms to upskill their people so they can deliver.
Right.
We will seek to create the talent where it's necessary.
But I don't think, I don't know. I don't know because I have never put this question to them. But the private sector organization, I don't know if they're afraid of the UIC. I don't know.
Let me give you better evidence other than anecdotal. One of the biggest media houses in Jamaica is controlled by someone who came out in support of Mark Golding when he ran to lead the PNP.
Yes.
And they furnished the people with some, and forgive the expression, cock and bull story that the board admonished him. I've never seen that before. But anyway, go on to say that none of the UIC press releases that goes to this organization get picked up. I have emails, I have evidence that my email, my UIC email, that I used to use when I was in charge of doing press releases, to send to that organization, would report back to me as being blocked. You follow?
Okay.
And I can go further, but I don't want to take over your program. So the UIC is seen to us as a threat to the oligarchy.
Yes.
But the UIC should not be perceived as that. The UIC, they complain constantly about the loss of revenue because of theft. And it affects their business as much as it affects ours. When you look at money being diverted from the national coffers, even though we're swimming in debt, $1.3 trillion and climbing, that money could have served the country better. And they are concerned about that, or so they say. And if they are, then why aren't they supporting a party that has concrete plans to streamline governance, reduce the size of government, reduce expenditure by government, especially wasteful expenditure, and put the country on a path to productivity? The economy is right now scheduled or forecasted to decline by, I think, 1.3 to something like 3%.
Yes.
And if our economy is forecasted to decline, why aren't there any efforts to stave that up?
Yes.
Why aren't they falling back to a position that allows them to conserve resources and plan their way out of it? Rather, they are full steam ahead with the usual expenditure on infrastructure, which is only a stopgap. Because when that infrastructure spending ends, you'll be left with the economic shock just the same.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Wright, I want to thank you for your time. And you know that Rebel Radio platform is open for us to discuss issues affecting the people's business. So, to be continued.
Definitely. Let me just remind your listeners that if they believe in justice, then we need justice for Joseph Patterson. Go to our Facebook page, go to our social media pages, and you'll see our petition. Feel free to sign. We're also asking persons who are justice-oriented, who are justice-minded, who believe in fairness, to write to the court and ask them what is happening with Mr. Patterson's case. All that information is on our social media pages, the email address. And, you know, you don't have to walk anywhere, drive anywhere. You can be behind your phone at lunch, behind your computer at work, behind your tablet or laptop at home, in between listening to Rebel Radio. You can send that email at the same time. So pop over to our Facebook page or any of our social media pages, sign that petition, send that email. Let's get justice for Joseph Patterson. Justice is liberty.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright. That was Mr.
Thank you, Brother Desmond.
It was Mr. Winston Wright from the United Independent Congress telling us about what his party is doing. Yes, well, we think that the court should hand down its ruling. It's just justice. Okay, Let us go for another.
One Jamaica TV. One Jamaica TV. One Jamaica TV.